Hey, hello everybody. Super good morning, everyone. Today is story time. We're sticking to the Journey to the West story, and we're gonna talk about, who's behind true power, right? So, yeah, I know it's still relatable until today. Later, I'll give you a big example of this. Hello, Boon Guan. Pekpo is around, Manuel. PJ Cock is around. Rack is around. Stuart, Kelvin, Sabrina, Katerina. How you guys all doing? Hopefully, you guys are doing really well. Any news? No, I don't think there's any big news happening in Malaysia. Right, so everything seems to be pretty nice right now. So we are approaching the middle of the month already, right? So we're approaching the middle of the month, right? So yeah, I'll be launching something on the 16th, right? I already told you guys 16 is a good date. So if you guys don't use it, then I don't know. So yeah, it's already end of the year already. All right, so back to this particular series. I'm borrowing the stuff from the Journey to the West, which is a Chinese very famous, one of the 4 very famous novel story, whatever that you want to call it, right? So the 4 very famous one is Journey to the West, and then you got the Water Margin, 水浒传. Then of course, the other one is 三国演义, Romance of the Three Kingdom. And then there's the 金瓶梅. 金瓶梅, I don't know what's the English name. But anyway, right, so these are the 4 very famous and often reused material. Right, so I'm start off with talking about Journey to the West. Maybe got time later, down the road. Then we may go into Water Margin to see whether there's any good story behind it, good story to good lesson behind it, and also the Romance Street. Or Romance Street Kingdom got plenty. Romance Street Kingdom got plenty. If you like politics, Romance Street Kingdom is a very good book to read about politics. Right, so the Journey to the West is better for career building. Hello Winnie, hello Inko, how you guys are doing? Hello Bonnie. Right, so yes, let's go in and take a look. We're gonna take a look at another part of the story of the Journey to the West. So let me shrink myself down to the smaller version. So this is the tinier version, right? So we're gonna talk about the battle on the Lion Camel Ridge. Right, 虎驼峰, whatever it is, right? So this is part of it. So you guys know that the entire Journey to the West story was about a guy, Tan Sang Zhang, which is commissioned by the Tang dynasties. One of the emperor Tang dynasty will ask him, hey, I heard about this Buddhist thingy, right? So can you go there and grab some reference book, come back. That's the basic story, right? So that's the basic story about it. Right? So then was going out on an adventure. Then he collected his team, right? So he collected his team, and then he collected Mr. Sun Wukong, monkey god. Then he collected Zhu Bazhe, right? So the pig, and then Sa He Sang, right? So the sand demon, right? So and also a loyal little horse. The horse is actually the dragon's, the sea dragon's son. So yeah, sea dragons. All of them are basically really big people. Then go on an adventure, right? So from one place to another place, they need to face difficulty, and one of these particular places, where they're gonna face this Azura lion. I know, this one look like a tiger. Don't ask me, right? So now I just throw it into ChatGPT. Give me this kind of stuff. Right? So it's one of these, right? So this is one of the more tougher battle. One of the more tougher battle inside, right? So now I already explained to you, right? So for Sun Wukong, which is somebody who is so marvelous that wipe out the entire army of the Heaven Court army, right? So even the very experienced, super powerful Naza also cannot fight with Sun Wukong. Right, so you see, Naza got about another 500 years worth of experience, and then there's this properly well trained from militaristic family. Erlangsen was also lost, right? So that part of it, you guys know, the entire Heaven Court is basically occupied by a bunch of employees who is very good at acting. So they know that Sun Wukong has tasks, right? So so they know that Sun Wukong has a task to perform. So everybody put up the act, one hit only, lost, right? So now these people are different. They are entrepreneur, right? They're entrepreneur, right? So they are here, right? So they are fighting for their life, right? So of course the Azura Dragon, Azura Dragon, play too much game already, right? So the Azura Lion, right? So came over to the earth, right? So he have carved himself an empire, right? So carved himself an empire. So it's a place whereby he has enslaved all the local human, right? So through his might, power, right? So it's of obviously good fighter, right? So obviously good fighter for the might and also the power. He has managed to put the entire population under fear. Right? So it's like he's the head honcho, right? So and the story is in the entire what we call journey to the west. So why everybody want to attack this Hesang, right? So this Tan San Zhang is because the idea is that if you're able to eat his meat, then you will gain immortality. So now you guys see, I already told you there's 3 guys which is very powerful up there, right? So the 3 guy is the one with the Changshen Guo, right? So Changshen Guo is the longevity fruits. Then there is the Pan Tao and also the magical pill. So you see, these people don't have access to this stuff. They can't go to the heaven court and and ask for it. So what they do is that they want to extend their life. They need to find other ways, right? So they're gonna find other ways, right? So and one of the way that was told, so I don't know who actually started with the rumors that if you actually eat Tan San Zhang, poor fella, and then you get to, right? So what he did is that he lured Tan San Zhang and also the group of team into his what we call your empire there, and then he used his magical ability to seal all their ability, right? So now with the ability all sealed up, and you need to fight with somebody who is such a powerful fighter, right? So of course they couldn't manage to do anything. And not only that, right? So the fella is actually what we call come together. This one look more like more like the Azura Lion. This rendition is better. Hey, by the way, if you play with ChatGPT, every single time you give them even the exact same prompt, they will render you something different. Right, so that's why you need to take the same prompt, throw it inside, let it render, throw it inside, let it render. Right, so if you are using Nano Banana, then you can tweak. Right, so but ChatGPT not able to do this kind of. Every single time you ask them to change anything, they will render something else. Right, after some time, they will add stuff from previous prompt into it. So ChatGPT not too easy to do. Right, so now you also got friends. Now you see, if you want to be powerful, you always travel together with friends. You never do things alone. And so please, all of you have mentality of, oh no, I want to be the greatest. And no, don't be the greatest. Just travel alone. Right, so I will have a separate story to talk about the importance of having the correct friends. Right, so now you go together with the Ta Peng, right? So the great Peng bird, right? So I know that one look like devil, but doesn't mind, never mind. And also the elephant, right? So now all of them are very, very powerful fighter. So can you see that this particular team of all the fighter versus the Sun Wukong team, right? So and of course their team lose, cannot fight. Right, didn't work, cannot fight, right? So then they were looking at they are gonna possibly lose the their Tan San Zhang. So now I already told you already, right? So the entire idea is inside here, when you cannot fight something, you go and ask for help, right? So you go and ask for help, right? So now question, why didn't Sun Wukong straight away kill this 3 fella? Right, with his fighting technique and everything, he can actually do that one. He can actually do that, right? So Sun Wukong is really not a pushover. It's really not a pushover. He has enough magical trick and also experience. So I told you already, right? Sun Wukong, every single time before he engaged in any battle down at planet Earth, he will always introduce himself. Right, she always introduce, hey, you guys, I am Sun Wukong, right? So do you know who I am? Right? He always have this, right? So if you take a look at it, every single time before engaging in battle, right? So they'll basically, say that, so the three fella know lah. The three fella, Now you see, the three fella actually know who is Sun Wukong. So that's why they know how to deal with Sun Wukong, right? They have seen how Sun Wukong work, right? So because once they identify that, yes, I know that you are the, Qi Tian Da Sheng who is, in the heaven courts, right? So has caused a bit of a problem. So one signal when you answer in that way is that I already know that you are somebody in heaven's court. So you are not a common monster. You are not a common monster on earth. You are actually somebody or something that used to stay in the heaven courts. Right? I got signal already, right? So now you see, so that's why, when you're having a conversation with people, there are certain things or certain keywords that people in the industry usually use to check or detect, where are your level in terms of inside the industry influence. Right, so they will probably use certain what we call let's say that they will ask you, whether you attended this particular function or not, right? So they know that this particular function probably only certain level of people can go in and attend it. So also the same thing, so the displays of all the branded stuff, right? So the display of the branded stuff, right? So like if you want to go and buy a Hermes bag, you cannot just walk in and buy an Hermes bag. They don't sell it to you, right? So you go in, you need to jump through hoops, they'll ask you to, buy a lot of, Hermes rubbish. Right? They'll ask you to buy a lot of Hermes rubbish, right? So, you have to buy a certain amount of rubbish first, then only they're gonna come and tell you that, probably the bag that you're looking for, or we have this particular bag which is available for you to buy. So you can see, there is qualification going on around. So one of the way inside this particular journey to the west of qualification, for at least for Sun Wukong to ascertain whether they are somebody I can straight away kill, or it's not somebody I cannot kill. It's this way, right? So do you know who the hell I am? Right, so and they are managed to answer, they know that you are Qi Tian Da Sheng, so but then go like ha 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 ha, I already know who you are, then they executed their move, right? So which is able to subdue and trap them, right? So now during this particular period, since Sun Wukong know that hey, I could probably kill this tree fella, but if I whack down this tree fella, right, I know that the force behind them would basically come after me. Right? So if this tree fella is already so powerful in terms of fighting, how do you think their boss is? How do you think their boss is? And do you think that anybody in the heaven court, which is the boss of them, is gonna be some pushovers, right? Yeah, so it doesn't know what's the reason, why the fella was, around, in this planet Earth and doing whatever that they are doing. You don't know, right? So, but, here's the thing, it's for safety purpose, you don't simply whack them, right? So Chinese have a saying, alright, so, 打狗先看主人, if you are hitting the dog, right? So, lowly life thingy dog, you need to know who's the owner of the dog, right? Because, you can hit the dog, no problem. Right? But when the owner come over and demanded justice, how you're gonna do this because of the dog? Understand or not? Right? So understand or not, this particular thing happens. So now when a incidence of unjust, or at least from your perspective happen, right, in front of you, whatever it is, right? So now you need to understand first, there are certain mechanisms that allow this incident of unjust to happen, or else it won't happen. All right, so now I ask you first, do you understand the mechanism? You can understand what you see in front of you, these things are unjust, but do you understand the mechanism behind it? Right, so now this is very telling when you are trying to deal with certain, what we call domestic violence. Right, so now if you think domestic violence, or you think a lot of those torturing kind of situation, right? So understand, right? So there is a lot of mechanism behind it that causes this to happen, right? So simply removing them from the situation usually doesn't help. So like simply killing these three fella doesn't help, right? So that's basically the pretext of the situation. So of course there's going to be the grand reveal, and you're going to find out who's the boss of this particular three person. And for this to happen, right? So for this to happen, right, you need to take a look at a advertisement. Right, so now still the same, right? So you guys need to get in touch with me. Telegram is a good way to do so, right? So and also there's stuff that I throw in for you guys to download. Right, so also back to the Substack. Now the next one on the what we call a 2026 animal science, right? So it's actually already published already. Okay, so please so if you guys need it, right, so just go into Substacks, and as usual you need community support, just go for Facebook. So whether you PM me on Telegram, whether you PM me on Substack, whether you PM me on the Facebook, I will reply to you, right? So as see the appropriateness, right? So come, let's go back and take a look. So who's the boss, right? Ta ta ta. Right, the boss is actually the three grand, the grandmaster of grand, the top of the Buddhism line, right? So you see how Buddhism also got different you want to call deities of God, right? Right, so the Asura Lion is basically the Wensu Pusa's ride. 坐骑, we call ride, car lah, call it the car, right? So佛陀is the actual Buddha, right? So the Great Peng, right? So the Great Peng is actually the佛陀's ride, right? So those are all three are basically car. You know, one called chauffeur also can, right? So and then is the Pusen Fusa's ride is the elephant. So these three fella is actually the rides of the three most powerful Buddhist figure in heaven. So tell me, if you whack the three fella, right, how are you going to answer to this three fella? Right, so by the way, Pusa is the fella who jail my what we call your Sun Wukong for 500 years. It was that guy. Right, so tell me, do you think Sun Wukong got any, right? So now when all this basically is happening, so again, as usual, Sun Wukong need to go back to heaven course and and ask for help, right? So guys, we got these things happening, right? So and the three fella heard it, found out that oh, I think that three fella belong to us one, right? So then the three fella came down, right? The three fella came down and carried all these three away. Now so now tell me first, do you think that this particular three fella doesn't know that their car is missing? Right, so if you look at the story, right, so a lot of it, right, so a lot of this particular there are many heavens stuff that come down to the planet Earth to do a lot of this, you want to call do evil thing, right? So 作业吧，他们叫作业, right? So do a lot of this evil thing, right? But ask yourself first, do you think that the owner does not know? Hey, these are God level fella, who is omnipotent, everything also know, they can see past, present, future, up, down, left, right. Missing car don't know. Think about it, right? So think about it, right? So now certain things happen, right? Do you think the people who is at the higher level doesn't know that it's happening? And now a lot of people think that one, right? So in the if you just change it back to 三国演义, right? So this is a situation, whereby a lot of times certain bad minister is doing bad stuff, and then no, the emperor seems to doesn't know. You think they don't know, right? You think they don't know, but it's actually certain acts are sanctioned by them. Right, so now the storyline basically said that the three animal was actually sent down to the planet Earth to create this particular act to test out the the resolve of the team. And that's the idea, right? So you see, but that's the idea, but a lot of human was enslaved. Right? A lot of human was enslaved in the entire process. How do you explain that? right? So how do you explain the entire process? You sacrifice many human, right? So all those kind of things is there. So it's like they are asked to go down to do all these kind of things, right? So do you think that is logical, right? Stuff like that, right? So there could probably be bigger story behind this, bigger story behind it, right? So all the things that is basically happening, but you cannot escape from the entire idea that your car just went down and just went missing, and you tell me you don't know about it. You need Sun Wukong to come and tell you, hey, look like your car in your porch, somebody took it. It sounds silly, right? So then you have a bit of a thinking going on there. There may be something bigger plan. So right now, if you see things happening around you, right, do you think that the thing that's happening is not sanctioned by somebody who has higher power? Anything at all that's happening, do you think really is that somebody was doing evil, right? That was not sanctioned by it. So a lot of people cry justice, all this kind of stuff, right? So now take a look at real life example. So again, please don't go to overboard with it, right? So very recent one, right? Very recent happening, right? So do you know that Qatar specifically is actually Doha, right? So Doha, which is part of Qatar, you guys know, right? Doha, the international airport place. Everybody come in, very rich Arab country, they were bombed by Israel. Right? If you have not heard it, then you ask yourself, where's the news? Where the news goes? Okay? Bombed by Israel. But why there were no outcry? Zero sanction. Right? Yeah, right. So it's Russia hit Ukraine. You're that. Right? A lot of things, right? A lot of things to talk about, right? Sanction here lah, sanction there lah. Say this, say that lah, right? So where's all the UN whatever? UN still say, oh no, this is not correct. But it seems like nobody touches Israel. Right? So do you think this is a Azura Lion or somebody? Right, you guys know who's Israel's biggest friend, right? Who actually owns Israel? Or who's the boss of Israel? Right, now you start to see there's a lot of geopolitical things that is happening, right? It is a lot of time not because the two nations want to fight each other, right? So a lot of time I explain to people, when two nations go to war, right, it's nothing more than burning money. But every missile is very expensive one. The missile is very expensive one. You're talking about $22 million one missile strike over. It's not cheap. It's not cheap, right? So who actually finances all these things? Right? There's a reason why this particular war is happening. There are chess player on top, which is controlling the chess pieces. This nation that's bombarding each other, fighting each other, they are just chess pieces. But we concentrate all our time and energy into the chess pieces, but we don't know who is the chess player. Right? Israel has got backing, right? So yeah, I know you don't know which of the Heaven's Court people are helping out with this, right? So now up until today, got sanction, got punishment, got outcry. Don't have. Right, so but Doha, it's a pretty awesome place. For those of you who have been there before, and I have not been there. I only landed in the airport. While flying to London, I landed in the airport. That's all. Right, so yeah, it's that particular place. Right, so can you see, even up until today, these things are basically happening. Right, so now you reflect back your office, that particular fella that you always think that, oh no, this fella always troublemaker. I can tell you the troublemaker is sanctioned by the boss one. Right, the boss always use this sort of method, right? So now in the empire fighting, right? One thing that they always tells you is that do not shine brighter than your boss. Right, so now in empire it's like this. While you are fighting for freedom, right, you guys are buddy, best of friends. But when the fight is over, when somebody become an emperor, whoever that has contributed into the winning is now become a threat to the emperor, because the emperor right now knows that you guys are capable of killing him. Other people, may not have the capability, but the now emperor is confirmed that they know that you are capable. So that's why capable general does not live very long. So what happened? The emperor cannot directly come and kill you. Even if he feel very threatened, he cannot directly kill you, because why? If he does that, then nobody will be loyal to him anymore. So what is the one tactic that this particular emperor can do? So he have to deploy Hand of Darkness. So this is where country like Israel come in. Right? The boss got certain things that it cannot do, right? So then, by the way, the boss always do this sort of thing, right? It's called regime change. Any single country that doesn't obey them, right? So they will trigger a regime change. Right? So apparently Indonesia also is not very obedient, right? So that's why Indonesia right now is going through a regime change. And by the way, doing regime change need money, right? Then who's supplying the money? And so really, do you think that the normal citizen who cannot even afford any food can organize themselves? It doesn't work that way, right? So same thing with your office, right? So there is always these people that the leaders keep around that seemingly are useless, but their role is exactly surgical knife. When they see that somebody is in threats of them, they would deploy this surgical knife to get rid of you. And many of the officer which is very powerful actually would end up, right? So one of the more smarter one is Sima Yi. So you guys know, right? Sima Yi, right? So he's the main arch rival of Zhuge Liang. Right? So Zhuge Liang, Sima Yi always dish with each other. Actually, Sima Yi has much better battle experience and tactic than Zhuge Liang. But a lot of times Sima Yi know how to use Zhuge Liang to save himself. So every time he faced Zhuge Liang, he would lose. But because to Sima Yi, if I keep on winning, right? So he know when he faced Zhuge Liang, he will retreat. Oh, Zhuge Liang very powerful, right? So then the emperor knows that this fellow also not really very, So he managed to do this, for almost like 4 different emperor. He helped 4 different emperor go up, and he survived. And he having all his family also is doing very good, because he know how to run away. He know how to basically remove all his power and authority when Zhuge Liang doesn't know how to do that. Zhuge Liang very dumb. Zhuge Liang entire family die, by the way. His 4 sons also die, because why he sent his 4 sons to battle because of country. Stupid right? Love Sima Yi, better strategies than Zhuge Liang. But Zhuge Liang is the more popularized one. I say it's more popularized one. It's basically Zhuge Liang, right? So Sima Yi is the better tactic. There's actually many different tacticians, right? So even if you guys doesn't know, there's this fellow named Zhang Liang. Right, so Cantonese Zhang Liang is actually a fellow. Right, so it's actually a very strong strategist, right? So one of the school of Qimen is actually from Zhang Liang one. Right, so Qimen got a few different schools, right? So Zhuge is one school, Zhang Liang is one school, another one is Zhang Ziya one, right? So that's actually one school. There's Qimen also got many schools, right? So these are the, but who uses Qimen Dunjia better? Don't know, right? But the Qimen Dunjia Zhuge is one line, right? So Zhang Liang is one lineage. Zhang Ziya is another one more lineage. By the way, the most of it that we are using is more from Zhang Ziya time. Right, so Zhuge Liang, the Qimen is more for, again, is for battle. So it's a bit different. Okay. So but anyway, so those are Qimen history. Don't need to bother about it. The version that we are using right now is basically a Rojak. Rojak means that every single thing thrown in together. Right. So but anyway, whoever it is, right, the basic component is the same. Right? It's the same basic component, right? So again, right, so for you guys is from now on, before you look at certain thing, right, ask yourself. Right? So ask yourself first, who is actually behind it? Who is actually the Khao San? Right? So in feng shui now, who's the backing mountain? So that's why in feng shui a lot of time, they emphasize wherever you do, you need to have a backing mountain. Kaosan is basically who's the boss. Right? So the boss always got boss, always got boss, always got boss. There's always somebody, got boss, right? So same thing for Malaysia. So Malaysia and Thailand, so we got a ex prime minister, right? So ex prime minister, right? So already over 100 years old already, right? So no one dare to touch his son one, because why? He is the power behind it, and behind him there is a group of power, right? So now everybody is waiting for him to exit. Once he exit the game, I'm sure away will attack the son already, because why? The son lose power. You see, once you lose the power backing behind it, you're sitting duck. Especially if you got money. If you got money and resources, you do not have power to back you up, you're a sitting duck. Right? You want to maintain power and you want to maintain resources and money, you need a very, very strong power backing. Without the strong power backing, you cannot maintain your money. People will come in and attack you. Right? So this is like this is like farmer that has a bountiful harvest. Right, you got farmer that has bountiful harvest, right? What happened? Do you think that the farmer know how to defend his harvest? No, they don't know. They don't have any idea. So you need a powerful nation or a powerful figure, that can convert your harvest into resources to be used. Right. So that's why a lot of time you ask, I want to earn $1 million. So I question first, do you know how to protect $1 million? If you do not know how to protect $1 million, you earn $1 million, you're just gonna squander. Right? It's like that. All right. So all these particular things, all link from one to another. All right. So hello, Joseph. How's Florida doing? Right. The USA is good. Right. So by the way, your country is the boss of this particular small country. That's why nobody dare to touch them. Right. So you take a look. Ukraine, who's the boss? Ukraine got no boss. Right? So that's why you got this particular problem. Right? So Syria, who's the boss? No boss, so nobody protect. Right? So Palestine got boss or not? No boss, nobody protect. Right? So where else, this sort of country, they do anything, no one touches them. Khao san gao tai. Right? So for you, ask yourself first, who's your boss? And if you are trying to do anything to somebody, ask yourself, who's that fella's boss? If you do not know this question, better not do anything, right? So or else you're just gonna get yourself into deep trouble, right? So you get deep trouble. No one's gonna dig you out. I just tell you first, the dangerous part of getting yourself into this sort of turmoil is no one is gonna come and dig you out. Right? So don't think that there's gonna be justice. The justice system, even the justice system is designed by the people who has power. Right? The entire justice system is designed by people who has power, right? So people who has power, they punch you, they take everything. Then what they do is that they design rules to protect themselves. Rules are all designed to protect themselves. It is not designed to protect you, right? So that is the cruelty of how the world works. As you know, Kevin is a bit dark, right? So, but anyway, most of us are not going to be involved in power play at this sort of level. Right, but I'm just telling you that it happens. Right, so if you're just a commoner like me who care no less about everything, don't stand on any side one, right? Quietly go and earn your money. That's it. Right, quietly go and earn money, earn enough, live in a very comfortable manner, do the stuff that you want to do. You probably will never touch this stratosphere of power play, right? So I hopefully not. If you ever touches that stratosphere of power play, get yourself ready. Who's your backing, right? So a lot of people also say that law is there to protect you. No, right? Law is there to protect whoever can pay for the law, right? The people who have money will usually win the case. They drag you also, they're gonna drag you until you go bankrupt. Yeah, they can drag the case. Right? So how are you gonna fight? They drag the case, they delay every single time you need to pay court on. Hello. Right, so that's America. Big trouble. Okay, right. So that's the story for today, right? So again, the take home is check who is behind. You check who is behind yourself first. If yourself no Kaosan, nobody is behind you. Don't have a big head honcho. Stop getting yourself into trouble, right? Stop trying to call justice. Stop trying to whatever it is. Stop. Please stop. Or else you just get into massive amount of problem. 冇真理㗎呢個世界上。Okay. That's it, guys. See you all. Right. So let me see what other journey to the west story that I can dig out. Bye bye.